Hello and welcome to this 45-minute morning yin practice. It's pretty chill practice this morning and we're on this gorgeous lake. There may be some boats coming by, so just keep that in mind. And also, if you're practicing at home, I have a couple of people practicing here with me live, which is really lovely. So you don't need any particular props for your practice today. Generally for yin, I like to say you should have some cushions or blocks or something of the sort. If you have those with you, for sure, keep them with you. And we'll get started laying down on your back with your head towards the front of your mat. So as you come to lay down, come into a Supta Baddha Konasana, so that's feet together and your knees wide. And as you lay onto your back, you can bring your heels a little closer towards you or a little further away and just create a position that feels most comfortable. An option to lift your arms up overhead here, so you get a bit of lengthening up through your shoulders and your rib cage as well. So just make sure you set up so you feel quite comfortable. And if ever it's too much to have your legs like this, feel free to lengthen your legs along your mat. Now, once you're settled in, you're welcome to close your eyes and seal your lips. And begin here to breathe more deeply in and out through your nose. So really start to tap into your breath and notice all the details of how it feels to breathe more deeply right now. And try to lengthen out your exhales so they're a little bit longer than your inhales. And notice even the moment on full and empty during your breath. Okay, so keep breathing nice and steadily. And now just slide your legs long along your mat and lift your arms up overhead and take a big stretch out from end to end. You can wiggle around a little bit here like a morning stretch. You're going to reach out through each foot, through each hand. And then with an exhale, bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your legs. Give yourself a nice big hug and move around here so you can make some circles with your knees or rock your legs a little side to side. And just keep your right knee in and extend your left leg long along your mat. Interlace your fingers over your right shin. Just let your left leg relax onto the ground. And if it feels best to bring your right knee up towards your right shoulder a little more, then feel free to do that. And send some really deep breath low into your belly. And soften around your neck and shoulders. And then keep your right knee in towards you. Bend your left knee in again. And we'll switch sides. So keep your left leg in, lengthen your right leg long. Just catch a hold of your left leg wherever it's most comfortable, wherever it takes the least effort to keep your leg there. Soften your jaw, soften your tongue. And keep your left knee in, bend your right knee in as well. And now extend both legs up towards the sky. So just lift your legs up, your arms can be by your sides. Your legs don't need to be all the way straight. In fact, keep at least a bit of a bend in them so they can soften. Now make a few circles with your ankles here. Just getting some movement at your ankle joint and through your lower legs. And switch directions on the circles that you're making. And pause that. And lengthen your legs along your mat. Lift your arms overhead. We'll come into banana pose. So bring your arms and legs over to the right. So you're creating a big long side bend, lengthening out the left side of your body. You can bend your arms, catch opposite elbows. You can also cross your ankles one way or the other and just see what feels best. And looking for some kind of lengthening sensation through the left side of your body. And then send your breath into your left rib cage, your left lung, and keep lengthening out your exhales. Okay, so gently release any grip you have in your arms, uncross your legs, and make your way back to center. As you get to center, bend your knees, place your feet about mat distance apart. Just rest your knees in towards each other and pause. And then knees into your chest. And give yourself a nice big hug. You can move around here if you like. And then we'll switch sides. So lengthen your legs, lift your arms overhead, and bring your arms and legs over to the left. And take all the time you need to shuffle around and create a shape that feels quite comfortable and still is working into the right side of your body. You may find it feels similar from side to side, or sometimes it can feel drastically different. And try to be as curious as you can about that. And then just settle into it as you breathe. And gently release your grip and make your way back to center. Again, bend your knees, place your feet about mat distance, rest your knees together, just pause. You notice any of the sensations that come up as you come out of the pose. And knees into your chest once again, give yourself a good squeeze. Then lengthen your legs and roll over one side to come onto your front. And once you land on your front here, you come into a sphinx. So bring your forearms to the ground, your elbows about under your shoulders, and your hands out in front of you. And shuffle around until you feel quite comfortable. And then soften around your neck. And ever so slightly here, just press down into your elbows so you're not just letting it go. You're going to get your shoulders a little away from your ears. And also an option is to pull your elbows back a bit to encourage your chest to move forward. And then breathe into the sides of your rib cage and keep lengthening out your exhales. And if ever you find your neck starts to hold on a bit more than it needs to, just move your head around. Just about another 5 or 6 steady breaths here. Okay, so gently lower yourself down. And just make a pillow by stacking your hands so you can rest your forehead down and pause as you breathe nice and low into your belly. So notice your lower back rising and falling with breath. And bring your hands under your shoulders and press up through a tabletop into a wide knees child's pose. So have your big toes touch knees wide, and we'll keep this fairly active as you drop your hips towards your heels and bring your forehead down. Just keep pressing your hands down and forward a little bit. And you have the option here to just sway your hips slightly side to side. Yeah, and keep breathing nice and low into your belly. Right, gently bring yourself up to your tabletop position onto your hands and knees. And in your tabletop, move through a few rounds of cat and cow in your spine. So arching and rounding your back, plus any other variations on this movement that feel good for you. So if you find a spot that feels good where you want to stay for a few moments, feel free to do so. Then from your tabletop, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. So come into a dragon lunge here. You may find it's best to slide your back leg back a bit, and you can let this front foot kind of land wherever it goes. If your toes point out on an angle, or if you're a little bit more to the outer edge of that foot, that's fine. The first few moments we'll just settle in right here, so with your hands under your shoulders, and you can rock a little bit side to side here. Just some gentle movement to help your hips just settle into the shape. And then if this feels like enough, you can stay just like this. Other option is to walk your hands a little over towards the left, so you're moving away from your right thigh. You might walk your hands a little that way and see how it feels. You might like to come back to center. It's all good. So think here of the front of your left hip softening down towards the ground. And soften your jaw, soften your tongue, lengthen out your exhales. Now again here, watch your neck and shoulders. If they start to hold on more than they need to, just move around. Okay, walk your hands back to center. And just rock your weight back so you can come back to your tabletop position, right leg back. And then extend your right leg behind you and bring your right foot over towards the left. So over towards the left side of your left foot. And then press your shoulders towards the left as well. Just lengthening out through the right side of your body. Yeah. Then bring it back to your tabletop position. And again, come through a few rounds of cat and cow plus any other variations that feel good. So just getting this nice movement in between the poses. And then from your neutral spine, we'll switch sides. So left foot to the outside of your left hand. Take the time you need to set it up so that you feel right, so that you can let your hips soften towards the ground. And then with your hands under your shoulders, first few moments, just get a little bit of movement, this gentle sway side to side. And then option 1, you can stay. Option 2, walk your hands over towards the right a little bit. So you get a little bit of a side bend through your spine here, and it also generally will deepen the sensation in your left hip. You may also feel it in other places. These lunges can be decently intense in yin, so remember to breathe. Okay, walk your hands back to center and gently bring your left leg back. Sometimes it feels a bit creaky coming out of the pose, so take your time. Then extend your left leg back and your left foot towards the right side of your right foot, shoulders over towards the right as well. And come back to your tabletop. And again, a few rounds of cat and cow in your spine, especially if your neck and shoulders start to hold on in those lunges. Just move your head around a little bit more here. And then we'll bring this to a heart melting pose. So keep your hips about above your knees and walk your arms out in front of you until your forehead comes to rest on the ground. Now, if ever that feels too much, you can always stack your hands to make a pillow for your forehead. And if you feel a bit like you're launching forward, just shift your hips back a little bit so that you can soften into it with a little less effort. And so the pose is what it sounds like, center of your chest softening towards the ground. So as well as working into your shoulders and your upper back, this pose can also create some gentle traction for your lower spine. So if you notice that and it feels good, you can bring your focus there. Okay, so from here, we'll bring it back into a Sphinx. So just rock yourself forward until your hips and thighs come down onto your mat. Take your time getting there, setting it up. And now you have option one, you can stay in your Sphinx. Option two, you can press into your hands and start to lift your upper body a little higher. So it won't be a super long hold here. If you do extend your arms, it can help to point your fingers out on an angle so that you can get more of this chest forward, shoulders back. And then soften around your neck and shoulders and just breathe really fully. Breathe as deeply as you can. Your breath will be a little restricted in this shape, so just make it as steady as possible. And just another 5 breaths here. Okay, gently lower yourself down the way you came in. And stack your hands to make a nice pillow for your forehead. Rest your forehead down. And just keeping everything nice and soft into your mat. Just sway your hips a little bit side to side. And then gently roll over one side and come onto your back once again. Once you're here, bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice squeeze. You can rock around again if you like. Maybe rock your head a little side to side. And we'll bring this into a twist. So feet to your mat, shift your hips over to the right side. And then option to wrap your right leg over your left leg as you drop your legs over towards the left. Always remember, if you wrap your legs and then it doesn't feel right, you can always undo it. You can look over your right shoulder here. You can look straight up towards the sky. It's all good either way for your neck. Now, once you're settled into the twist, breathe into your belly and soften your face. And gently make your way back to center. And just like earlier, bend your knees, place your feet wide, rest your knees together and pause. And knees into your chest, give yourself a nice hug, nice big squeeze like you mean it. And to the other side of your twist, shift your hips a bit to the left side of your mat. Then you can wrap your left leg up and over, or just simply keep your left knee stacked on top of your right. And you can look over your left shoulder or up towards the sky. And really do notice the movement of your breath in your twist. And you can really feel in a pose like this how your inhales create so much more space. It will take you out of the twist. And your exhales, you have more space to move into the shape. And that'll just happen naturally with each breath. And gently make your way out of your twist. And once again, land with your feet wide, knees together. And knees into your chest, give yourself a nice hug. And then place the soles of your feet onto your mat about hip distance, maybe a bit wider. And we'll work a little movement for your spine here. So with your feet on your mat, start by tilting your tailbone towards your heels. So you're pressing your lower back down towards the ground. And ground firmly into your feet as you slowly lift your hips up, incrementally working to lift your spine one vertebra at a time. So eventually when you reach the top, you'll be in a bridge pose. Just pause there for a moment. And then same thing on the way down. We'll move through a few rounds, lifting and lowering one vertebra at a time, or as close to that as you can get. When you reach the bottom, you can pause and eventually press down into your heels for same thing, moving through your spine, working to get each of those joints a little loosened up for your day. And do keep it slow and steady. We'll move through about 4 or 5 rounds of lifting and lowering. And if you find there's little sections of your spine that seem to lift or lower as one chunk rather than little by little, you might like to pause in that spot and just lift and lower a few times. And sometimes it'll loosen up a bit just by doing that. And you can finish the round that you're on. And then eventually, next time your hips land on the ground, just bring your knees in towards you and find a happy baby. You can bring your knees wide. You can hold on to your shins, your ankles, or your feet. You could also hook your big toes if that feels good. An option here to rock a little side to side. You can also rock your head a bit side to side as well, soften around your neck. And together here, we'll take a deep breath in through your nose. Once through your mouth, let it go. Yeah, and one more inhale to Shavasana as you exhale. And take all the time you need setting up Shavasana so that you feel good. And take the time to tuck your shoulder blades underneath you so your palms face up without any effort. Especially if you practice outside, it's always an option to keep your eyes open for Shavasana and just enjoy whatever's in your view. Enjoy your Shavasana. I'll leave you here so you can take longer in Shavasana if you like. And when you do move out of this pose, just remember to do so quietly and with awareness so that you can bring a little of this stillness with you into the rest of your day. Thank you so much for choosing to practice. Have a gorgeous rest of your day. Namaste.